former ESPer Yosuke Yobu, who was betrayed many years ago, is currently among the most powerful ESPers as well as a wanted man. But there is a sweetheart hidden behind that gaze. His major goal is to protect ESPers from abuse by humans, even if that means using force. His methods have resulted in the loyalty of those he has helped by saving numerous ESPers' lives. His organization is called Pandra. In an unknown country, Yobu turns himself into the military and is taken to a special ESPer prison. When he arrived, Yobu meets Andy Hinamiya, an ESPer prisoner who somehow does not seem to have any special abilities. After causing some commotion, both are transported to prison where Yobu invites Andy a chance to join his side, which he accepts upon supporting him in escaping the prison. At the mealtime, the cooks intentionally add drugs to Yobu's food. Instead, he gives it to Andy. During a fight with another prisoner, due to the drug's effects, Andy is unable to fight back. He takes many punches to the stomach before losing consciousness. Andy awakens in an operating room outside of the prison and is freed by Yobu. He explains to him that illegal ESPer experiments are being performed inside the prison. Together, they get at the location where a little ESPer child, Yujiri, is being held. The jail warden sends a creature made by combining several ESPer body parts to attack them. But when Yobu activates his own limiter and reveals his actual power, it is ultimately destroyed. In the end, Yobu, Andy, and Yujiri are picked up by the other members of Pandra, and Andy is welcomed aboard their base of operations, the ocean liner Catastrophe. However, Andy is shown as a spy sent to infiltrate the organization as he makes contact with his superiors. It has been a week since USEI investigator Hinamiya stepped aboard Pandra's ship. The crew learns his ability to block every ESPer ability, and that ESPer users close by can cause symptoms such as headaches, vertigo, or toothaches. Magi is suspicious of Hinamiya due to issues with Hinamiya's past, even more so that they cannot read his mind with ESPer. Pandara is to make a trade, smuggling weapons, with a certain mafia boss, Carlo, who is a friend of Yobu's from World War II. Yobu is actually very old, but he uses his ESPer abilities to regenerate himself to keep his youth. Shortly after arriving, Pandra is attacked by the mafia they were to trade with. Despite this, Yobu insists on visiting Carlo. He gives orders to Hinamiya to shoot Carlo if he gives the signal, but upon giving the signal he is unable to shoot. Having already calculated this, Yobu uncovered his disguised clones and kills Carlo, whom was actually a robotic decoy. Carlos is actually a very high-level ESPer. But he is no match for Yobu, who slaughters him instantly. Yobu gives Hinamiya a limiter to reduce the impact of his abilities to negate ESP, which makes him susceptible to having his mind read. Magi tells Yujiri to read Hinamiya's mind, but Yujiri informs Magi that she will not read Hinamiya's mind unless Yobu specifically orders her to. Meanwhile, Minamoto and Sakaki arrive at the Principality of Monarch. Minamoto and Sakaki attend a party held by the Princess of Monarch, Sophie, Grace, for ESPer organizations from several countries, where they spot Yobu and some members of Pandra. After being confronted by the duo, Yobu and his party flee undetected, and some time later, it is revealed that Sophie is also missing. While Sakaki and Minamoto inquire the authorities and try to access the contents of a USB flash drive Sakaki snatched from Yobu's pocket, Sophie is seen under custody of Pandra, but it is revealed that it is part of their plan to protect the princess from an assassination plot by Yujiri's request. As Sophie befriends Yujiri and decides to take her for a walk around the city while escorted by Andy, Yobu makes use of mass hypnosis to have all women in the country seen by all around her as the princess, while feeding their enemies with false info about her whereabouts to lure them to a trap. Meanwhile, Sophie and Yujiri come at an abandoned orphanage, where the princess remembers that she has met her before, as one of the orphans being raised there before disappearing mysteriously. They are found by the ringleader behind the assassination plot, who wants to get rid of her because of her ESPer protecting policy. But Minamoto, having previously deduced the enemy's identity upon analyzing the files, brings the police with him soon after. The criminal shoots at Sophie, but she is protected by Andy, who takes the hit at his shoulder, and Yobu disarms him before he is arrested. Sophie offers herself to take care of Yujiri, but she rathers to keep living with Yobu and the others instead and bids farewell to her. As the Catastrophe approaches the coast of Japan, Andy is searching the ship under his superior's orders when it is attacked by the members of Babel, who send the children to infiltrate it. Yobu confronts Kaoru by himself while Andy is detained by Aoi and Shiho, who steal the ship's master key from Momotaro and use it to hack the Catastrophe's main computer. Once regrouped, the members of Pandra begin the counterattack by having Andy defeat Fujiko using his second ESPer power, the ability to neutralize temporarily the powers of someone he touches and destroying the hack's control while the rest of the group distracts the children. In a last effort to capture the Catastrophe, Kaoru, Aoi and Shiho combine their powers with their limiter's triple boost feature to restrain it, but they are repelled by Yobu when he unlocks his own limiter, giving them the chance to escape. As Minamoto comforts the girls who are inconsolable for letting Yobu escape, he and Fujiko discuss an unsettling prophecy they received concerning him. With the Catastrophe undergoing repairs after their clash with the children, Andy is tasked by Maji, Mamaji, and Yo to accompany Yujiri as they are summoned back. Meanwhile, Yobu infiltrates a Babel medical facility to perform some exams on his body in secret. While taking Yujiri to an amusement park, Andy is approached by Minamoto and Fujiko, who reveal to him that they know he is a spy under the US government infiltrated on Pandra and ask for his cooperation to apprehend them. As Sakaki keeps watching Yujiri, who is exposed as an ESPer after she uses her powers to help a lost boy, feeling herself rejected by those around her, a desperate Yujiri loses control over her powers, igniting a disastrous hypnotic trance that is contained when Andy comes to help her. Soon after, their companions appear and bring them to safety. Back at the Catastrophe, a birthday party is held to Yobu, who hides from them the results of the exam he made, which indicate that he does not have much time left to live. As Andy reminisces about when he was recruited by the US government, he is informed by his superiors that the time has come for him to finish his assignment. Yobu informs the others that their next mission is to steal a new ECM device developed in the United States. Andy then informs Babel about the mission, and he agrees to put Pandra up for a trap, although they decide to not take the children with them this time, despite Kaoru's protests. With Yobu and the others cornered by Minamoto's team, Andy takes the opportunity to return to the Catastrophe and accomplish his own mission, which is to extract the ship's main defense system, Ichigo. Yobu follows soon after, but is halted by Kaoru, who had just learned about a precognition regarding an impending destruction of the Catastrophe. With his body showing signs of fatigue, Yobu goes full force against Kaoru, knocking her unconscious, and finds Andy as he reaches Ichigo's chambers. Revealing to Andy that he always knew he was a spy, Yobu claims that now he has no option but to kill him. Several decades ago, a young Yobu who had recently lost his father moves to live with Fujiko and her father in Japan. Some time later, both Fujiko and Yobu are asked by Captain Eiji Sayatome to join a new ESPer special unit created under the Japanese army. Fujiko declines despite Eiji's claim that the unit's purpose is not to help with Japan's invasion of other nations, but to help with the country's defense. In spite of a similar initiative in development by the Third Reich, while Yobu was instructed by his late father to refrain from using his powers to avoid being used as a living weapon. However, sometime later, both Yobu and Fujiko accept the offer and join the army. Some months later, Yobu and Fujiko get themselves involved in an incident with a naval officer, and the army discussed the possibility of having the ESPer unit disbanded. But Eiji proposes a bet instead, with the incident being forgotten should they manage to defeat and combat the Japanese Navy's recently completed state-of-the-art fighter aircraft, the Zero. Eiji chooses Yobu to represent the ESP unit in the duel with the Navy fighter, but the words of his father that he should refrain from using his powers keep haunting him as he trains for the upcoming match. In the day of the duel, it is revealed that the pilot representing the Navy is the same one involved in the incident. Yobu finds himself in a pinch against the enemy until he finally manages to overcome his fear and wins the duel by a direct paint shot in the cockpit. Soon after, a U.S. submarine is seen pursuing 3 dolphins who contact Yobu and the others through ESP asking for their help, just before one of the dolphins is killed by a torpedo. With the Navy fighters' help, the ESP unit managed to save the other 2 and shake off the pursuers. However, the dolphins warn Yobu about an ominous fate awaiting him and his companions. Years later, just after the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, Eiji informs Yobu that Japan is about to surrender and most of the ESP unit is dead. However, by using the brain of Ihachi, one of the dolphins, Eiji has a precognition that Yobu will bring destruction to the world in the future and decides to dispose of him. Eiji fires thrice on him, one bullet to the head, but Yobu manages to survive and strikes back, apparently killing him, and leaves swearing vengeance on the normals who betrayed him and his friends. Back to the present, Andy uses his powers to deactivate Ichigo's cloaking system, exposing the Catastrophe to an attack by the US military. While confronting Magi and the others, Minamoto learns about the situation and reveals that Babel's true intention was to apprehend Pandra to prevent the attack, and allows them to leave and help Yobu and the others. With Yobu busy confronting dozens of combat drones sent by the US Army, a task force invades the ship and captures Yujiri. Andy tries to stop them from taking her away, but his superior shoots him instead and leaves with both Yujiri and Ichigo in his possession. Andy awakens soon after, just to find he is unscathed as his limiter stopped the bullet. Meanwhile, Yobu feels his body failing away and unlocks his powers. To destroy the invading fleet in one fell swoop before losing consciousness. But the Catastrophe ends up taking one last shot before it's sunk, with everyone aboard having already evacuated the ship except for Yobu and Andy. Andy saves Yobu from drowning, and the two are rescued by Babel. Fujiko and Sakaki take Yobu to the Tsubomi estate to treat him, while Oboro has the transmitter chip from the US extracted from Andy's body and destroyed with the children's help. By Kaoru's request, Shiho restrains Oboro and learns Yobu's location from her. Andy convinces the girls to take him with them, and upon arriving at the mansion, Yobu asks him about the man who contacted them aboard the Catastrophe, confirming his suspicions that said man is none other than Eiji Sayotome himself, who somehow is still alive. Meanwhile, Sakaki reveals to the girls that Yobu is dying, and to save his life, Kaoru offers herself for a blood transfusion. Now in possession of both Yujiri and Ichigo, Eiji plans to use both to avert the ESPer revolution led by Kaoru and Yobu, set to occur in the near future. Sometime later, despite still not fully recovered, Yobu leaves by himself despite Kaoru's pleas and accepts Andy's offer to accompany him. The two then depart to confront Eiji and rescue Yujiri. Upon arriving at home, Andy's former contact in the USEI is held into custody by him with Yobu's help and is forced to take them to the facility where Yujiri is being held. However, the agent manages to warn his companions about them in secret, and the two arrive there just to find that Yujiri is not there anymore. And after a brief conversation with Eiji, who reveals to them his intention to use her to kill Kaoru, the two find themselves in an ambush. Andy and Yobu fight to escape until they are cornered by the enemy, just to be rescued in time by Magi and the others. Once again reunited, the members of Pandra set to New York, as Yobu realizes that Eiji's next target is Norman Green, the newly elected mayor who is a supporter of ESPer protection policies. Somehow put under some kind of hypnosis, Yujiri defeats Magi, Mamaji, and Yo before she comes across Andy. Andy follows Yujiri to the site of Green's inauguration, but is restrained by the police, just to be rescued by Minamoto and Sakaki, who reveal to him that they are working with Liberty Bell to stop Eiji's conspiracy to have the new mayor assassinated by an ESPer and alter the future. Yujiri attacks Green, just to be stopped by Andy, and she launches a hypnotic trance that afflicts everyone in the area except Andy and his allies, starting a riot. As the riot spreads through the city, Yobu confronts Yujiri to free her mind, but her hypnosis makes him confront delusions of his past, until he unlocks his powers, knowing that with his body's condition, this may end up killing him. Yobu succeeds to rescue Yujiri, but his power becomes unstable, and he asks Andy to take her away before they destroy him. However, Andy refuses to flee and uses his ability to restrain Yobu's powers and save his life. As the members of Babel return home and are greeted by Kaoru and the others, Yobu finally comes face to face with Eiji. With the rest of his cohorts already in custody, Eiji asks Yobu to kill him, but he refuses to do so and decides to punish him by erasing all his memories instead. Andy decides to find his own way in life and bids farewell to Yujiri and the others from Pandra, leaving to parts unknown after having a short meeting with Yobu. Thank you for watching till the end. Please don't forget to subscribe.